Welcome back to a new video on this channel. In this occasion, I'm going to show you the Digi or DIGITAKT 2 trick conditions. So yeah, we're going to talk about nay, first, fill, pre, and so on. Just to get into the groove, we will start easy with the easy ones, and then we'll move on to the next ones. If you like what I do, please like the video, and this channel is supported by viewers only. If you want to buy me a coffee to say thanks and help the channel keep going on, you can. You have links on the description for PayPal, YouTube thanks, and Patreon. Okay, so let's begin. The first one is the A and B. I have a completely empty kit. I'm going to go to play and I have absolutely nothing. So if I go to the track number 1, which is the kick, I'm going to be doing a 4 in the floor. Right? If I play it back, it's going to sound like that. And if I go to the snares, I'm going to do a 5 and I'm going to do a 13. Simple 4 in the floor. Now I'm going to go to the track number 1, which is the kick, and I'm going to be adding a kick to the 15. So it's going to sound like that. Now what I want to do on this one, I want to use a trick condition. Now to use the conditions, you need to go to the trigger and you need to press and hold, and then and only then you can move these controls. Now this is the condition. I'm going to go to the first one, which is going to be the A and the B, and it's called A and the B because first you have a number and then you have a second number. The first is the A and the second is the B. So A, which is the first one, it's going to be when the trigger is going to play, and then B is the number of loops and or cycles that the pattern needs to play. Right now I'm going to keep it on 1, 2. So this loop, it's 16 bars. So this conditional means that it needs to loop twice, and then it will trigger on the first of 2 cycles. So super simple. I'm gonna go and play it back. And there we go. Notice that it went 2 cycles, 2 loops, and the first one played and the second one didn't play. So I'm gonna play it again. Playing, not playing. There we go. Now also I want you to notice that every time that the cycle restarts, playing and then not playing, it restarts, it's going to play, and then it's not going to play. So this is how it works. It resets the cycle and everything starts over. Now what if I go to a different one? I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to the 2, 2. So this means that it will trigger on the second one of 2 cycles. I'm going to play it back, not going to play, but the second one will play. And the whole thing starts over. There we go. So, it's just pretty simple. Now, the thing is that as you keep moving up, you have more, I won't say complex, but you have different values. This one means that you need 3 cycles, and it's going to play on the first one of the 3 cycles. If I play it, it's playing, second cycle, not, third cycle, not, restart. There we go. If I stop it and go again, you have more options, which is going to be that I'm going to show you this one in a minute. Then you have 2 and the 3, and this means that it's going to be playing on the second one of 3 cycles. I'm going to play it again, not going to play. And this one will play, and on the third, it will not play, and the whole thing starts over. Not, yes, not, and so on and on. And I guess at this point, you are getting the idea of how this works. I'm going to do one more because, we can. I'm going to do 3, 3. So this means that it will need 3 cycles and it will play at the last cycle. Not going to play, not going to play, and then play. And the whole thing starts over. Not, yes. Cool. So hopefully you understand how this works. Now, what happens when you have a longer pattern? Right now, I have just 16 steps, and I'm going to remove the trigger. I have 16 steps. What happens if you have 64? I'm going to go to function, I'm going to hold it, I'm going to tap, 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 and do 64 steps. I'm going to get out, and now we have 64 steps of the same deal. So now the cycle is going to be the whole duration of all the pattern. It's going to be the 64 steps, not 16 or a page anymore. So I could go maybe to the last page. I could add a kick right there. And now if I go here, I'm going to say that I want a 1, 2. You know what? I'm going to do a 2, 3. Why not? So this means it needs 3 cycles and it will only play on the second one of the 3 cycles. I'm going to play it back. Remember, we are on the first cycle. So this one should not play. Not play. This one is the second cycle. And this one should play because we are doing a 2-3. Playing. And on the third one, it should not play because this is the last cycle. So let's see it. Not playing. And the whole thing, you know, starts over. The first cycle, it will not do it, and then on the second one, it will. So this is how it works. It's pretty simple to understand. The thing is that when you start adding more things and more conditionals, you know, it gets a little bit confusing. I'm going to go to function and make it 16 steps again. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the same thing than before, but I'm going to just I'm going to put the kick right there. This one has no conditional right now. What happens if I go to the one that has the line at the top? So this one is the complete opposite of whatever the other one is. If I do 2, 3, it means that we need 3 cycles. And if you're not doing the line at the top, it means that it will play on the second one of the 3 cycles. But since we have the line at the top, it's reversed. It's the opposite. It's going to play on the first one. It's going to play on the third one, on the third cycle, but it will not play on the second one. So I'm going to stop it. I'm going to play it. Play, not play, and then the other one will play. There you go. And the whole thing, of course, starts over. So it's the same idea, but, you know, just reversed. I'm going to go to the snare, and I have a snare on the 5. I have a snare on the 13. Okay, so the pre, and I'm going to hold it just to show you. If you go here, you have pre, and then you have not pre. So these ones are logical operators. If you come from the developing world, this is like an if statement, pretty much. Pre only knows how to read true and false. It will look at something else, and if that something else is true or false, it will react to it. So pre reacts to whatever other thing is true, and not pre, which is the pre and the line at the top, will be true if the other thing is false. And I know all of this is just super confusing. Let me give you an example. So we have the snare on the 5 and the 13. I'm gonna do 2, 2. There you go, 2, 2. I'm gonna make the 5, 2, 2. If I play it, it means that it will play 2 cycles, and the snare will not play on the first cycle, but it will play on the second one. If I play it, not playing, it will only play on the second cycle. And the whole thing, of course, starts over. Why am I doing this? Well, because I want to show you how the pre works. Remember, the pre looks at some other condition. And this, you know, the 2, 2, the A and the B, is a condition or a conditional. So if I add something else after the number 5, whatever nay that we have right here will look at the 5. I'm going to add a snare to the 7. If I play it now, the 7, since it has no conditional, it will always play. But the trick is that I want to make it nay. I'm going to go and say that we want a nay. I'm sorry, we want a pre. There we go, pre. So now the 7 is asking to the 5, dude, are you true or are you false? So if this one is true, the nay expects true. So if this is true, this will be true and both snares will play. But if this one is false, this one will not play. Because remember, pre wants to be true. So if I play it, not playing, 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 not playing, playing, playing. So this is how it works. The nay will ask this one, are you true or not? And depending on the response, it will play or it will not play. Now, if I hold this and I make it not pre, this is the complete opposite. This is looking for not true. It's looking for false. So if this one is true, well, this one is looking for false. So this one will not react if this one is true. You have a couple of things you need to be aware of. These conditionals, the pre and the not pre, they don't care about cycles, like the A and the B, for example. They will always look for the previous conditional or the previous trigger that says true or false, or whatever that comes before that says true or false. And depending on the response, they will react to that. It doesn't care if you do 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 1,000,000 cycles. They don't care. All right, so then you have the nays. Now, the nays are very similar to the pre's. The nay is not a shorthand of not, it's neighbor. Also, they work on tracks and not on triggers like the pre's. So they will look at some, then that's why they called nay, because it's neighbor track. Nays will evaluate the trigger or conditional of a neighbor track. And if that neighbor track is true, nay will be true and not nay will be false. And if that neighbor track is false, nay will be false and not nay will be true. And I know all of this is super confusing. If I play back this, I have nothing. It's just a complete empty project and default kit. I'm going to go to the track number 1, which is the kick, and I'm going to add a 4 on the floor. I'm going to do the same thing with the snare, and I'm creating the example right here so you can, know what I'm doing. So we have 2 tracks that are doing something. We have the kick and we have the snare. This one, I guess, is a tom. Yeah, it's a tom. So you know what? I'm gonna use it. So the 3 is the neighbor track of the snare. I'm gonna go to the track number 3. I'm gonna enter grid recording, and I'm gonna add something to the step number 6. If I play it back, we can hear that after the snare on the 5, the 6 is a tom and it's playing. I guess it's a tom, right? So, okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to go to the snare and I'm going to add a conditional. This is what it does. The 3 needs to listen to a conditional that lives on the previous track, on the neighboring track, the 2 in this case. And I'm going to go to 5 and I'm going to make it to play 1, 2. So it's going to play the first of 2 cycles. If I play it back, it's playing the first cycle, but not playing on the second one. So now this 5 has a conditional. The snare has a condition, condition or conditional. It depends on how you're going to want to call it. I am a developer too. If you tell me condition, it's a little bit weird. It's just conditional. So I'm going to go to the number 3, which is the toms. And right here on the 6, I want to use an instruction. I want to use this condition or conditional, and I want to make it nay. I'm going to press and hold it, and I'm going to go to nay. There we go. I'm going to say nay. Remember that the nay, what it needs for the neighbor track to be true in order to play. So remember that the snare has a condition. I'm going to go here and has a condition of 1 and 2. It's going to play the first one, but not on the second one. So now the tom, since it's expecting for the snare to play, is awaiting for true, it will play on the first one, but it will not play on the second one. So it will play when the snare plays, and it will not play when the snare doesn't play. So if I get out of grid recording, we can see them all here. Notice that the snare, the tom, is not playing, but the snare is not playing. And when the snare plays, the tom plays. And this is the nay doing its job. Cool. What happens if I do not nay? I'm going to go to the track number 3. I'm going to enter grid recording, and I'm going to make it not nay. So now the opposite will happen. The tom will play when the snare is not playing. And when the snare plays, the tom will not play. Cool. All right. So this is what we can do with the nay. At the beginning is a little bit confusing, and as you keep adding more nays and pre's and fills and so on and on and on, it gets a little bit confusing. But at least you know the basics, and this is something that you need to practice. Once you do it over and over again, it's just gonna get get easier. Now, nay conditions will ignore preconditions. It's just the way it works. But nays will listen to other nays. Now the track number 4 is a clap. So this one is a neighboring track of the tom, the number 3. Since nays listen other nays, we can add a nay on this one. I'm gonna enter to the clap track, and I'm gonna add a snare to the 7. Remember the tom is on the 6. Right? I'm gonna go to the clap, and I'm gonna make sure that I make nay. And I'm going to go to the tom and make sure that I make this one nay. So both are nays now. If I play it, notice that when the tom plays, then the clap plays. And when the tom doesn't play, the clap doesn't play. So, again, you need to practice all this. And if you keep doing it, it's going to become second nature. All right, so now we need to talk about the first and the not first. And since we covered the most challenging parts, which is the pre and the nays, now it's going to get a lot easier. So first is going to be true the first time it loops. That's how it works. I have a 4 in the floor, 16 steps, just 16 steps. And I'm going to go to the 5 of the snare, right? This is the snare. So I'm going to go here, and my conditional or condition is going to be first. So this means that the first time that we go through this trigger is going to play, but then it's not going to play anymore. I'm going to start it playing, and then it will not play anymore. And maybe you're thinking, oh, it's just like the A and the B. No, because the A and the B, they use cycles. They listen to cycles. This one doesn't care about cycles. It's just going to play the first time, and then it will never play ever again. Now, if I go here and I do the not first, well, it's the complete opposite. It will not play the first time, but then the rest is going to just play it. Not playing, and then just playing. And it keeps playing and playing and playing. It will skip the first cycle, but the rest ones, it's just going to play it. So that's the first. Now then you have the last, which is something kind of new. And for this one, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to just delete the pattern and just going to do the 4 in the floor. I'm going to stop it and I'm going to go to function and page and I'm going to make it 64 steps. Oh, made a mistake. There we go, 64 steps. So it's going to be 4 pages long. I'm going to get out and I'm going to play it. Now, what I want to do, I want to go maybe to the page number 4 and create a fill. I'm going to go to the page number 4. We are in grid recording, so I can add something. And I'm going to be doing something like that. So if I play it back, maybe something like that. So we are going to be getting that filled at the end. Right. I could go to 2 triggers, and this is the same for all the conditionals. I'm going to go and hold both. And I'm going to go and make them last. Let me go to the last. There we go. LST. Last for both, it means that they will never play unless the pattern is waiting to cue a new pattern. That's why we get this one. So I'm going to play it back. Start from the beginning. We are on page 1, page 2, page 3. They should not play. And they're not playing. And the whole thing starts over. And they will never play unless I cue a new pattern. And I'm going to do it now. I'm going to cue the next pattern. It's going to take a little while, and now they will play because it's waiting to cue. And there you go. So that's how the last works. So you could use it as a fill type of thing. Now you do have the fill option. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you can use it just like this, or maybe just to create some kind of a build-up, right? At some point when you cue in a next pattern. And it's a pretty useful thing, especially for performance. Now then you have the other thing. I'm going to go back to the pattern. And you have the not last. And this is going to be just the opposite. It will always play unless I cue. I'm going to be playing. And if we go to the 4th, we get it. It's going to play. It will always play. Now, if I go to a new pattern, it will not play because it's not last. And it goes to a new pattern. There we go. So, really interesting and useful function. And now it's time to talk about the fill option that you have there. If I play it back, you have that floor on the floor. It's going to be 1 single page, so 16 steps. I'm going to stay on the snare. I am on the snare, but this time I'm going to do something like that. So I'm adding a fill. But the thing is that, of course, we can make this better. I'm going to go here and I'm going to make them fill, and you have fill and then you have not fill. Let me go there. So for now, I'm just going to select fill. Now, the whole point of all of this is that you can trigger this fill on demand. Notice that they're never playing. So to make them play, you need to activate the fill. All right, so let me stop it. I'm going to stay on grid recording. You have different ways of triggering the fill. So I'm going to play it back. One way to activate the fill is by holding yes. I'm holding it. I'm going to tap the page. This will blink, and at some point it will do the fill and go back to normal. And notice that at first it's going to flash. And this is because, and you know what, I can show you. I can go to function page. I'm going to make the sequenced 32 steps. If I play it, we have the snare on both pages, or not. You know what, I'm going to add it. I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to do fill. Okay, so it's playing, they're playing, we have a fill on the first page, and we have a fill on the second page. Cool. Now remember, it's yes, and page, it will flash. The cycle starts, is going to go and do the fills. That's how it works. Yes, page, it will flash and do it on the next cycle. So it will always wait for the cycle to be over and to the next one to start. And on the next one, it will do the fill. Now, if I go to not fill, which is the complete opposite, and I go to the other page and do the same, this is again the complete opposite. If I play it, they will always play, always, unless I activate the fill mode. I'm gonna do it so, and now it's not gonna play. There we go, not playing. And then it goes back to playing the fills. Right, so, you know, this is a function that we had for a long time on the Digi or DIGITAKT world. And it's just, you know, very useful. Now I'm going to change the snares to fill, back to fill. There we go. And I'm going to go to the other page and do exactly the same. You have other ways to trigger the fill. Right now, I'm doing it so on grid mode, with grid mode on. But if I turn it off and play it back, we have a different way. I'm going to be holding the page, and whatever you hold is going to do the fill. And when you release, it's just not going to do it. So you can do it on demand. And of course, it depends on what you want to do, on how you want to trigger it. Now right here, you can still do the same, like hold the yes and the page, it will blink and go to the next pattern, to the next cycle. So you can still do this, all right? Now I'm gonna play it back. You have a different way. I'm gonna hold the page, I'm gonna hold yes, and now I'm gonna release the page, and I'm gonna release the yes. Notice that it's latched, the fill mode, it's now latched. So this is what we do with this mode. You can latch it, and to get out, you just tap the page. Remember, page, yes, release the page, and then release the yes. If you just press the page, you're doing it while you're holding, but you're not latching. So page, yes, release page, and then latching. Cool, right? All right, so different ways to trigger the fill or to use the fill. Okay, so we are done with all the different modes. So hopefully now you understand how they work. And remember, you need to practice them. It's the only way to master all of this. Now you know how they work. Now you need to do the practicing. Now, if you learned something new on this video and you liked what I do and you liked all of this, please like the video and subscribe if you can. Now, this channel is supported by viewers only. If you want to buy me a coffee to say thanks and help the channel just keep producing videos, you can. You have links in the description for PayPal, YouTube thanks, and Patreon.